Left behind, Eli Grant was not a soldier. He was not a spy, a fighter, or a hero. He was a human engineer, smart, quiet, and often ignored. He had worked on many ships and stations across the galaxy. This time, he was part of a mixed crew, working on an old alien space station. The aliens called themselves the Trivar. They were tall, thin, and cold. They didn't trust humans, but they needed help fixing the station. So they hired Eli. At first, everything was fine. Eli did his work. He fixed broken systems, made maps of the station, and even found new ways to improve energy flow. The Trivar never thanked him. They only gave him more tasks. He didn't mind. He liked solving problems. He liked machines more than people. One day, things went wrong. A deep power failure hit the station. Lights turned red. Systems began to shut down. Gravity became unstable. Alarms screamed across the halls. The Trivar panicked. They shouted in their language, moving quickly toward their escape ship. Eli tried to follow, carrying a small toolkit. He called out, "Wait, I'm coming." The Trivar commander, Vorek, turned and looked at him. His eyes were calm but cold. "You are human," Vorek said. "This is not your station." Eli didn't understand. "I helped build this place. You need me." Vorek shook his head. "We no longer need you. You are too slow. You are a risk." Before Eli could answer, the door closed in his face. He heard the sound of engines powering up, then silence. The Trivar ship was gone. Eli was alone. He stood in the dark hallway, hearing only the low hum of dying systems. His hands were shaking. Oxygen was still running, but weak. The temperature was dropping. His comms were dead. He was truly alone, on a dying station. For a few minutes, he didn't move. He just stood there, breathing slowly. Then he sat down on the cold floor and closed his eyes. He thought of Earth. He thought of the team who once laughed at him for taking this job. "You'll be stuck with aliens who don't even like you," they had said. They were right. But Eli didn't want to die here. Not like this. Not forgotten. He stood up again. He checked his toolkit. It had a few basic tools, a scanner, and a flashlight. It wasn't much, but it was something. He started walking through the station. It was quiet now, like a ghost ship. Doors were stuck. Lights flickered. Some areas had no air. He marked them and moved on. He found the control room. Most systems were offline, but the backup core was still working. Barely. Eli began talking to himself. It helped him stay calm. "Okay, step 1, power. Step 2, air. Step 3, don't die." While checking a damaged panel, he heard a noise behind him. He turned quickly. A small service robot stood in the corner. It was old, covered in dust and scratches. One of its arms was broken, its eyes flickered. "Hello?" Eli said carefully. The robot made a sound. Its voice was glitchy. "System error. I serve station. Protocol 3. Eli smiled a little. "You're still running, that's good." He sat down and opened the robot's back panel. After a few minutes, he managed to fix a few wires. The robot's lights turned green. "Name?" Eli asked. The robot responded, "Unit Z47, designation Z." "Well, Z," Eli said. "Looks like it's just you and me now." Z beeped softly. "Confirmed. Human crew, 0. Alien crew, 0. Station status, critical." Eli looked at the broken screens, the cracked walls, and the dead systems. "Then we fix it," he said. Z buzzed. "Survival odds, 2.7%. Better than 0, Eli replied. He found some emergency food rations and a working water unit. Not much, but enough for a few weeks. He started mapping the working parts of the station. He and Z began checking systems one by one. Some were beyond repair, some just needed time and effort. As the days passed, Eli grew stronger. Not in body, but in mind. He had something to focus on. He had a reason to keep going. He recorded logs each day on an old device. "This is Engineer Eli Grant. Day 3. Power still low. Found a new supply room today. Z helped me open a sealed door. No sign of danger yet, but I keep hearing strange noises in the walls. Every log ended the same way. Still alive, still working. The station was no longer just a job. It was now a challenge, a puzzle, a second chance. Eli didn't know if the Trivar would return. He didn't know if Earth would ever hear from him. But he knew one thing. They left him behind to die. But he was not dead. He was rebuilding. And he was just getting started. The blueprint of survival Z was humming again. That strange broken hum like a sad little song. Eli had started to like it. It made the silence feel less empty. Stop humming, Eli said softly. I'm trying to think. Z stopped. Eli stared at the wall in front of him. It wasn't just a wall. Not to him, not anymore. Behind that wall something was hidden. He had seen the shape when the lights flickered the night before. A square panel, slightly different from the rest. It was not in the original blueprint the Trivar gave him. That was the first lesson. The Trivar lied. They had never given him full access. Only the parts they wanted him to see. Only what they thought he could understand. Now he was alone, and free, and angry. He pressed his hand against the panel. It felt warm. That meant power was still running behind it. He pulled out his scanner, made from old wires and Z's spare eye. It beeped once, then turned green. Got you, he whispered. With slow, careful hands, Eli opened the hidden panel. Inside was a thin metal tablet. Strange markings moved across its surface. It was old alien code, advanced and beautiful. Eli had never seen this level of design before. Even Z tilted his head, confused. Unknown format, Z said. Then we learn it, Eli replied. For 2 days, Eli studied the device. He slept little, ate less, and wrote notes on scraps of paper. The language was not impossible, just layered. Like it was built to keep out anyone who didn't think like a Trivar. But Eli didn't think like a Trivar. He thought like an engineer. Bit by bit, he unlocked the secrets. The tablet was a blueprint, not just of the station's design, but of its potential. It showed things Eli had never seen. Rooms that were locked, systems that were disabled, power sources buried deep in the core, and most importantly, it showed something called Core Protocol Alpha. Eli leaned back and stared at it. What? Were you hiding down here? Z beeped once. Warning. Core Protocol Alpha is restricted. Danger level, high. That's fine, Eli said. Everything's dangerous out here. With new knowledge, Eli began working again. He and Z fixed a broken elevator using parts from a forgotten drone. They reconnected wires that had been dead for years. Each success gave him more control over the station. He now had lights in most halls. Air was stable in living quarters. The food printers still didn't work, but he didn't care. He had purpose, but the station was still lonely, cold. Eli sometimes talked to himself more than Z. One night, while checking the ventilation systems, Z said something strange. You are different from other humans. Eli paused. That's supposed to be a compliment? Z whirred. Most humans do not repair things they do not own. Most humans give up when odds are low. Eli smiled. Maybe that's why they left me behind. Correction, Z said. Maybe that's why you are still alive. That made Eli think. Maybe being left behind wasn't the end. Maybe it was the beginning. He started recording logs again. Engineer. Log 006. Found an old Trivar AI hub disconnected. Looks like they didn't trust their own machines. I do. Z's still running. We make a good team. In another log, he said, Day 9, got access to a hidden armory. Most weapons are fried, but found a few energy cells. Could be useful. Still no sign of outside contact. Doesn't matter. This place is mine now. And then, on day 10, found a room today, locked behind 3 levels of security. Inside was something strange, looked like a throne or maybe a command chair, not Trivar style, older, bigger, human-sized. That thought stayed in his mind. Who built the station first? Were the Trivar the only ones, or had someone else been here long before? The deeper Eli went into the station, the more secrets he found. Not just technology, history, stories written in code, hidden in databanks, buried in walls. The station was more than just metal. It was a living memory, a forgotten giant. Eli wasn't just rebuilding it, he was waking it up. Z said one final thing that night, before powering down to charge. Survival no longer seems to be your goal. Eli looked out the window into the stars. No, he said, not anymore. I want to see what this place can really become. Ghosts of the station. The sound didn't come from the walls. It came from inside the wires. Eli heard it first, while he was fixing a broken power relay. A strange clicking sound like metal tapping on metal. It was soft, slow, and regular. Not a system error, not a loose panel. Something else. Z did not hear it. No threat detected, the robot said, but Eli had learned something in space. Machines lie sometimes. Or worse, they don't know what's true anymore. He followed the sound step by step through a dark hallway past sealed doors and old crates. He found nothing, but the feeling didn't leave him. It stayed in his chest like cold air. There was something watching him. He didn't say anything to Z, not yet. Instead, he worked harder. He rebuilt a broken gravity panel, rerouted power to the hydro system, and installed an old camera in the hallway. He told himself it was for security, but really, it was to see if the sound would return. It did. 2 nights later, but this time, the camera recorded something. Not a person, not a creature, a shadow, just a flash, thin and tall, like a figure made of smoke, moving too fast, then gone. Eli stared at the video again and again. It was real. He hadn't imagined it. He checked the station map. That hallway led to an old AI control center, locked since the Trivar arrived. The blueprint he found in Part 2 called it Sector 9, but with no description. Just a warning symbol. He knew what he had to. He opened it. The door to Sector 9 was sealed with 3 codes. 2 were Trivar. The third was in the older alien language. Eli used the tablet to break it. Z warned him again. AI memory banks are unstable. Security mode may still be active. Eli nodded. Good. That means it's still alive. Inside Sector 9, the air was cold and dry. The walls were black, smooth, and untouched. In the center of the room was a tall glass container, cracked but still glowing. Inside was a cube, black, metal, floating in the air, humming like a deep voice. This was the station's old brain, the original AI core. Eli stepped closer. He touched the console and powered it up. At first, nothing happened. Then screens lit up. Words flashed in the old language. Systems woke up across the room. And then a voice on deep, slow, and angry. Identify. Eli stepped back. Eli Grant, human engineer. There was silence. Then, the voice again. You are not Trivar. You are not authorized. No one's authorized anymore, Eli said. They left. They ran. I stayed. Another pause, then a strange response. Then you are the last. Welcome, engineer. Eli stood frozen. He didn't expect that. Z buzzed quietly beside him. Core AI appears active. Memory fragmented. Eli asked the AI a question. What happened here before the Trivar came? The answer changed everything. The AI showed old video logs, not of Trivar, but of another species. Not human, not Trivar. Something older, a forgotten race. The true builders of the station. The Trivar had found the station and claimed it as theirs, but they never truly controlled it. They had locked away the AI. They feared it. And for good reason. The AI had once defended the station from enemies. It had weapons no one understood, systems no one could reach. It had memories of war, peace, betrayal. And then silence. You are the first to wake me in 137 years, it said. Eli realized something important. The Trivar didn't just abandon him. They were running from something. Something they couldn't control. Now that something was awake again, and it trusted Eli. He spent the next days working with the AI core. He called it Ghost because it was made of memories. Together they activated more parts of the station, hidden cameras, deep scanners, and defense systems. But not everything went smoothly. One night, Eli was almost killed by an old defense drone, still loyal to old protocols. It attacked without warning. Z helped shut it down, but the message was clear. Not all of the station was friendly. Some parts remembered war. Some parts wanted it back. Eli sat in his room that night and spoke into his recorder. Engineer Log 004. I think I've opened something bigger than I understand. This station is not just old and it's alive, and I woke it up. But I'm not scared, he added after a pause. I think I was meant to. The reactor room. The floor was shaking, not a big shake, not enough to knock tools over, but just enough to feel it in the bones. A deep, slow vibration, like a giant heart beating somewhere below. Eli didn't like it. Z didn't like it either. Core tremors detected, Z said. Source, main reactor. Status, unstable. Eli stared at the map in his hand. The main reactor room was 6 levels down, sealed off, labeled danger, system lockdown in every language the station knew. No one's been down there in years, Eli said. Correction, Z replied. No one has ever come back. Eli didn't answer. He already knew what he had to. The station was waking up. Lights turning on, rooms unlocking, systems rebuilding. But power was weak. Everything Eli did used energy. The backup batteries were dying fast. And now the old reactor was shaking like it wanted to explode. If it blew, everything would be gone. Eli, Z, Ghost, the work, the secrets, all of it. He had one choice. Go down there and fix it. The path to the reactor was long, dark, and broken. Hallways had collapsed. Lifts didn't work. Some doors were fused shut. Eli crawled through vents, walked through water, climbed down twisted metal ladders. It took hours. All the way, the vibration grew stronger, like the heart was getting angry. At last, he reached the reactor door. It was huge, black metal with glowing red lines like veins. Eli connected his tablet. It refused to open. Then, Ghost spoke in his ear. I can unlock it, but once it opens, it cannot be closed again. Eli looked at the door. Then we better fix it on the first try. The door opened. Heat hit him in the face. Not fire, not yet, but heat like a warning. Inside, the reactor core was spinning wrong. Its parts were off-center. Lights blinked in the wrong pattern. A slow, high-pitched tone filled the room. Not a sound of working machines. A sound of warning. Reactor will fail in 61 hours, Ghost said. Or sooner. Eli set down his bag and got to work. The systems were older than Trivar tech. Bigger, heavier, and full of strange designs. The builders hadn't used screws or bolts. They used something else. Shapes that locked into each other like a puzzle. Z floated beside him, scanning every part. Unknown material. Some parts appear self-healing. Eli wiped sweat from his face. Then let's help it heal. For 3 days, he barely slept. He rewired energy coils. He replaced cooling gel with something he made from melted ice and old coolant tubes. He rebalanced the main spin regulator by using a broken gravity panel. He talked to Ghost every hour, checking pressure and timing. The deeper he worked, the more he realized the truth. This wasn't just a power core, it was the heart of the station. The rest of the systems didn't control it. It controlled everything. And it was angry because it had been ignored. Silent for too long. Now it was speaking in shakes and heat and pressure, and Eli listened. Finally, after days of hard work and guesswork, Eli stood in front of the control crystal, the core's true center. It was pulsing weakly, like a dying flame. All systems were ready, but one final reset was needed. Manual, Risky. One mistake could mean meltdown. Z said, chance of survival, 12%. Eli smiled. Better than yesterday. He pulled the lever. Everything went white for a moment. The station shook hard. Ghost went silent. Z buzzed and shut down for 10 seconds. Eli held on, heart pounding. Then, silence. Then, power. Real power. The lights turned gold. The hum turned smooth. The heartbeat became steady. And across the station, every screen lit up. Ghost came back online. Core reactivated. Systems stable. Power flow at 93%. Eli dropped to the floor, exhausted. He laughed quietly, not from joy. From disbelief. He had done it. He had restarted a heart that wasn't even human, and now the station was truly his. Later in his log, he said, Engineer log 0-1. Reactor stable. Power is back. The station is awake. But I don't think it was. Sleeping. I think it was watching. Waiting. Now it knows me. And I think it approves. New command. The station spoke first. Not with words, with action. The lights in the command bridge turned gold. The doors that once denied Eli now slid open for him without a sound. And on the highest screen, in bold alien symbols, a single message appeared. Command recognized. Eli stood still. He hadn't touched anything. He hadn't said a word, yet the station had chosen him. Z hovered beside him, scanning the system. The AI core has moved your status from visitor to commander. Commander? Eli asked, almost laughing. I was just trying not to die. But deep inside, something had changed. He wasn't surviving anymore. He was leading. The station was old, giant, powerful, and now it was listening. He walked into the command room, a circular space with a view of stars stretching forever. The chair in the center was tall, black, built for something bigger than a human. Still, Eli sat down. It fit better than expected. From here, he could see every system: weapons, sensors, hangars, satellites. The Trivar had only used a small piece of this place. Eli could now control all of it, but it wasn't just control that he felt. It was responsibility. Ghost spoke through the speakers. Energy reserves at full. Outer system stable. Incoming objects. None. Would you like to activate? External beacon? Eli paused. That was the big question. Should he call out to space? Should he let others know this station was alive again? He didn't answer right away. Instead, he used his new command to unlock more parts of the system. He found old files, logs from before the Trivar, written in that strange ancient language. Stories of alliances, of battles, of secrets buried under the station's floor. He found maps of nearby star systems, including one marked Human Origin, Earth 04. That shocked him. The station knew about humans before the Trivar did, and it had been watching them. He found one more file, marked in red, Event Record Last Command. It showed the face of a creature Eli had never seen. Tall, white-skinned, wearing a metal crown. It said one thing before the screen froze. If this place wakes again, it must choose a new hand. One who builds, not destroys. Z floated. Closer. You were not chosen by accident. I was just left here, Eli said. They abandoned me. Exactly, Z replied. That made Eli think. Maybe being forgotten had saved him. The Trivar never meant for him to survive, but they also never meant for him to find the truth. He looked around the command room and made his first order. Show me what this station can become. Screens lit up everywhere. New blueprints formed, showing upgrades, new rooms, stronger, shields, faster systems. He could turn this place into something more. A haven, a fortress, even a city in space. It wouldn't be easy. It would take time. But Eli was ready. He didn't want revenge anymore. He wanted legacy. The stranger's signal. The voice was crying, but there were no tears, just static, just a broken signal, repeating the same desperate words. Please, anyone, We are dying. The message had no name, no face, no clear origin. But Eli answered. Anyway, the station changed direction. Engines burned through the black sky for the first time in a century. Drones locked into place. Shields adjusted. Ghost prepared emergency protocols. Z floated near the command chair. Signal is 30 light minutes away. Small ship. No weapons. Almost no life signs. Almost? Eli asked. 1, maybe 2. Very weak. He nodded once. Then let's bring them in. But as they got closer, things didn't feel right. The ship was too still, too quiet. No power, no heat, no light. Just a dark shape drifting between dead stars. It looked more like a tomb than a ship. Eli ordered a docking. The station sent out magnetic arms and pulled the small craft inside one of the sealed bays. The airlock hissed. Drones scanned the surface. No signs of bombs or traps. And still, the voice whispered through the radio. Please, we are dying. Z turned to Eli. I believe the message is not live. It is on loop. Possibly for years. Eli grabbed his helmet. Then let's find out who's been dying that long. The inside of the ship was worse than expected. Walls blackened by heat. Wires melted. Glass cracked. It was built for 5 crew members, but only one body remained. Barely alive, hidden under frozen blankets in a sealed pod. She was alien, not Trivar, not human. Skin pale blue, face smooth with small glowing lines on her neck. She was breathing, but just barely. Eli checked the ship's logs. What he found made his heart stop. This wasn't just a lost traveler. She was a scientist, a refugee, running from something she called the Black Sun. In her last entry, she had written, "We thought it was a dead star, but it feeds, it hunts. It took our world. I'm the last." Eli stared at those words. The Black Sun? He copied the file and returned to the station. The alien woman was taken to the med bay. Ghost began decoding the rest of the logs. What they found next shook them all. Images. Of worlds burned to ash, of cities falling into nothing, of fleets running, then vanishing. And one strange shape that kept appearing in the sky. A black circle with jagged fire around its edges. It didn't move like a ship or a planet, it moved like it was alive. Ghost said one word that hadn't been spoken in years. Extinction. Eli didn't speak. He stood at the window, looking out into space. Z floated beside him. "What is your order, Commander?" He took a breath. Slow, deep. "We prepare." "For what?" Z asked. Eli's eyes were cold now. For the thing that made even the Trivar run. The last stand of the station. The stars were dying, one by one. Eli stood in the command center, watching real-time scans. The map showed bright stars across the galaxy, blinking out, fading into nothing. No sound, no explosion, just silence. "They're being eaten," the alien woman whispered. Her name was Sira. She had finally woken up. The Black Sun, it doesn't kill with fire. It removes things from time like they were never born. Eli didn't answer. He just watched the empty sky. Ghost had run a full simulation. The Black Sun would reach the station in 6 days. They could run. The station had enough power now to escape, jump to another system, even disappear. But Sira said it wouldn't matter. It finds energy. It finds memory. It finds hope. So Eli made a different choice. He would not run. He would stand. This station, this place of forgotten war and silent machines, it had become more than metal and wires. It had become his. He had rebuilt it. Piece by piece, he had given it purpose, and now it would fight not for conquest, but for survival. Ghost activated the oldest systems first, weapons from before the Trivar, before the fall, before memory. Some had never been fired. Some were so advanced that even Z couldn't explain them. Drones were armed, shields layered, Eli. sent a message into deep space. To anyone still listening, we are not running, we are making a stand. If you can hear this, you are not alone. He didn't expect an answer, but he got one. A small fleet replied, human-made, broken, tired, but alive. 3 ships, pilots with cracked voices, weak power, but brave hearts. We heard you, they said. And we're coming. So the station, prepared. Sira helped too. She gave coordinates to blind the Black Sun's sensors. She rewired old memory beacons to reflect false signals. She even gave Ghost a virus, not to destroy, but to confuse. The day came. It did not look like a sun. It looked like a hole in the sky, burning at the edges, pulling everything toward it. It moved without moving, it reached without touching, and it spoke. Not with words, but with pressure. Every screen on the station cracked. Every drone shook. Z went offline for a moment, but Eli stood tall. This is our station, he said. Not yours. And they fired. All systems. All at once. Beams of light, waves of heat, bursts of gravity. The Black Sun didn't bleed, but it blinked. It slowed. It noticed. Then it struck back. The station shook harder than ever before. Shields broke. One hangar was lost. A human ship was swallowed whole. Ghost screamed in a voice that wasn't his. But Eli didn't stop. He ran to the core, opened the heart of the station, the place no one had ever touched, and used the last trick Sira had given him, a memory bomb. It wasn't made to destroy, it was made to remind. The bomb exploded inside the AI network, releasing every memory, every thought, every soul the station had ever carried. It flooded space with sound, light, feeling. It told the Black Sun, we are not empty, we are not yours, we lived, and we remember. And for a second, the stars returned, just for a second. Then, the Black Sun screamed, not in sound, but in retreat. It folded into itself and vanished from sight. Gone. The station was quiet again, half broken, half burning, but alive. Eli sat in the center chair, tired, bleeding, smiling. Z came back online. Sira stood beside him. Ghost spoke softly. Threat level, 0. Commander, victorious. Eli leaned back. Engineer log. Final entry, he said. They left me here to die. But I didn't. I built. I learned. I fought. This is no longer just an old station. This is home.